Whoa, 17-10. The Titans escape defensively. They get after Russell Wilson and get out of Nissan Stadium with a W, defeating the Broncos 17-10. Titans move to 6-3. The Broncos fall to 3-6. And man, a tale of two halves. Welcome into the Titan Postgame Show, Titan Postgame Live. That is powered by Barton Insurance Group, our brand new postgame sponsor. That will be our postgame sponsor the rest of the season. We're extremely excited to talk about Barton Insurance Group as A to Z Sports. They provide our company with insurance. They provide my personal insurance, and they can provide you guys with insurance. We'll talk more about the Barton Insurance Group, but want to thank all of our sponsors, starting with the Barton Insurance Group and also Crumble Cookie, which we will kind of grade Ryan Tannehill. As we said, tale of two halves, flea flicker, good decisions, bad play calling. You have a lot of different things to go through. We welcome everybody in. Also want to thank Buddy Allen Carpet One, our pregame show sponsor, as well as Mr. Goodroof and BetMGM. I am Zach Bingham. He is Jack Gentry. We were watching it together right before we actually went live. What do you think about this Titans defense getting after Russell Wilson? Look, the broadcast said it. They had pressured and hurried and tackled or hit Russell Wilson close to 20 times the entire game. Sack daddy. We talk about Mike Keith yelling out sack. There was a lot of that today. Jack, your initial reaction is the Titans get another close win to move on to 6-3 on the season and extend their dominance and their lead in the AFC South.
You said it. It's a tale of two halves, but unlike the Titans' first 8 games, the script was flipped. They stunk in the first half, came alive in the second half. Defense did what they've always done this season and keep the opponent in check. Russell Wilson was getting hit all day long without 5 defensive starters. The Titans' depth really showed out today. The NWI really showed out today. I'm impressed by the Titans. Look, this is a game you've got to win because you're in a gauntlet where you're going up against the Chiefs, you know, the Broncos, the Bengals, the Eagles. I mean, it's a brutal stretch. The Titans needed to win this one at home. They found a way. That's what they've done this season. They just keep finding ways to win. They got the job done. They moved to 6-3.
And it is wild, as a commenter says, 6-3 after. You got to remember, this team started 0-2. There's an 0-2 start, and they've reeled off a ton of wins, and they get back in the win column after losing last week to a game that they probably should have won, right? But they were, they play Titan football, and Titan football is close, make a play at the end and get out of there with a victory. Noah brings up something about Taysom Hill, which is funny. I think that the Titans have learned Malik isn't Taysom Hill. Either plays the whole game or is a true backup, not a gadget guy, as you saw Todd Downing, which we will talk about in this postgame show. I mean, wow, that was, and more people are going to be piling in here over the course of the next several minutes as we kind of get settled into our Titan Postgame Live show brought to you by the Barton Insurance Group right here in Middle Tennessee. Jack, I think the flea flicker definitely changed some momentum, right? We talked about at halftime the drive that they put together, a 13-play drive that ended in an NWI touchdown. Well, that flea flicker, I felt like, was a gutsy call and at the right time and executed very well. Your boy, Nick Westbrook-Akine, 119 yards off 5 receptions, 8 targets, and 2 touchdowns.
Monster day for NWI. Look, he missed an opportunity in Kansas City, one that could have changed the game. The receivers hadn't played well. NWI, who's been there the longest, which is crazy to still think about, he caught some heat last week. He responds by having his best game of the season, his longest catch of his career in a crucial moment in a game where touchdowns were extremely hard to come by. Great design by Todd Downing. I love the flea flicker. Nothing gets me going like a good old-fashioned flea flicker. Now, that did, I think, kind of lead to Downing getting a little cocky, putting Malik Willis in a situation where he wasn't really needed in, and you see the fumble. But despite that brutal call and another one where, the Titans get the ball, first possession of the half, Downing runs Dontrell Hilliard on 3rd down and 3. That was frustrating. But the flea flicker, it almost made up for it. I mean, what a great play. NWI, awesome bounce-back game. You can't really say enough about the Titans' depth in this one.
Yeah, and it came alive as some injury updates just from what we know. Elijah Molden exited with a groin, which he was out from really pretty much the entire season thus far, so that's not good. He goes out. Caleb Farley with a back. We know his history of a back injury. We'll have to find out more. David Long Jr. gutted it out after his stinger, got back into that football game and played hard-nosed football. And so, look, the Titans were, they were banged up. Defensively, they were banged up. But you got to credit Mike Vrabel and John Robinson in this sense. They find guys. It doesn't matter who is on the back of their jersey. They find guys on the defensive front to get after the quarterback. I felt like Russell Wilson was under pressure and duress the entire day.
Mike Vrabel and John Robinson breed dogs on that defensive line. Coming into this game, they were going to be without Jeffrey Simmons and Bud Dupree. Jeffrey Simmons and Bud Dupree accounted for 8.5 of the Titans' 23 sacks heading into this game. That's almost 40%, okay? The Titans had 6 sacks today. Here were the guys that got at least one. Mario Edwards, Dylan Cole, Naquan Jones, DeMarcus Walker, Rashad Weaver. All rotational players. They sacked Russell Wilson 6 times. That is what separates the Titans defensive line from every other team in the NFL. When they have guys go down, there's always a dude willing to come in and do their job. And it wasn't just sacks. Edwards hit Russell Wilson 3 times. He had 3 TFLs on the day. Dylan Cole had 2 TFLs. I mean, Walker was all over the place. He could have had 2.5 sacks, but one of them got wiped away because of a holding call on McCreary on a 3rd down. But you're exactly right. You have to give them credit for going out and finding these guys off the street to come in and dominate in a big-time game.
Yeah, Titans move on in a big win over the Denver Broncos. It's an AFC win, and they're 6-3 on the year, and they're in the driver's seat in the AFC South. Things that they did well and things that they did poorly, right? I mean, that's kind of Titans football. They don't play 60 minutes of just unbelievable football. That never happens, right? Let's talk about one word, all right? So power to the people. Let's go to the chat. What's one word that describes the Titans win over the Broncos? And this brings up our great brand new sponsor, which is the Barton Insurance Group, 615-806-1265. You can give them a call. Adam and Brian, they'll hook you up with the best insurance coverage right here in Middle Tennessee. A to Z Sports as a company and a business, we use Barton Insurance Group. I personally use Barton Insurance Group through Erie Insurance. They have my home and my auto. They keep me covered, and they are the premier insurance provider for both personal, home, and auto coverage, and also small to mid-sized businesses. That's Barton Insurance Group, LLC.com. That's 615-806-1265. And unlike most insurance group, Barton Insurance Group is 100% locally owned. They're an independent insurance broker, and they've got partners with over a dozen insurance companies. They're trusted, like I said, by A to Z Sports. They can be trusted by you. We trust them, and we trust them with our one-word segment. Give me one word that describes the Titans' victory over the Broncos. They get a win 17-10. Do you have your word,
I
Jack?
got my word. And
What's your word?
I just saw it pop up in the chat as well. I'm with John Laster. Resilient is my word. The Titans defense had every reason to come in today and play a little sluggish, right? They were on the field all game long on Sunday night against the Chiefs offense. They were down 5 starters. But some of these guys that come off the bench, they weren't on the field the whole game in Kansas City, so their legs were a little fresher. So I mean, you could spin it in a way where in a spot where the Titans defense would normally be tired and exhausted, they had some depth guys come in fresh, ready to make an impact, ready to show the Titans coaching staff and the rest of the league what they're made of. They are resilient. Look, it was a tough loss. It was a heartbreaking loss. Those type of losses can lead to hangovers the following game. The Titans did not have a hangover, although the offense did for most of the first half. But the Titans defense gutted it out last week. They came up, they did their job with reserves this week. You mentioned some of the injuries they had during the game as well. Long, Farley, Molden, Lonnie Johnson all left the game. On top of the 5 starters that didn't play, on top of Harold Landry, who hasn't played all season. These guys are backups, and they are playing like one of the best defenses in the NFL. Credit Mike Vrabel. Credit Shane Bowen. It was a resilient effort for the Tennessee Titans today.
We won't credit Todd Downing, and we're going to talk about him in our next segment. But for this segment, one word that describes the Titans' win over the Broncos. That's brought to you by Barton Insurance Group right here in Middle Tennessee, 615-806-1265. Ugly from Zach, opportunistic from Shane, defense from Chad, frustrating from the general, Vrabel coming in here, messy from Jay, Tannehill from John, grind from Chandler, inept from Rick, team from Will, pressure from Eric, gutsy from Earl, bipolar. That right there is a word right there from Jordan on describing this win that the Titans get. Explosive from Jarrett, heart coming in from big time Timmy Tay, gutsy from Robert, resiliency, talking about what you said, grind from Jonathan, consistent from Isaac. And I think he's saying consistent on how the Titans play. Let's see, luck. We've got Vrabel from Mr. We've got enough from Chad. I like that word. Pressure from Dave, which I also like. Wow from Tones. Rebound, and that rebound victory from the Chiefs' loss last week on Sunday night. Gutsy coming in from Travis. We got a ton of people in the chat. We got a ton of people watching, which is great. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Catherine goes scrappy. It definitely was that. Bowen coming in from Jose Raul. Bowen was a big part. Shane Bowen and his defense really showed out. And they didn't give up a single solitary point in the third and fourth quarter, right? I like a lot of these words. And look, redundant coming from Robert in the way that the Titans play. I've got to give it, I'm just going to go simple, and I've got to simplify it. And it goes with what the chat says, and Joey says it. The one word for me is defense. The defense is the only thing that is keeping the Titans in these football games. They single-handedly prevented Russell Wilson from tying the game and going into another overtime for the second week in a row. Defensively, they got after Russell Wilson. They picked him off to end the game. And that's that. I mean, they held Russell Wilson to a 70.1 passer rating. He had 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He threw the ball 42 times. He was sacked 6 times for 38 yards worth of loss. This is a defensive performance. This is defense. It sure as hell ain't offense, because the Titans are looking up and down their roster. And in an offense, the productivity or lack thereof from their main guy, Derrick Henry, 19 carries for only 53 yards and a long of 10 yards. That was eye-opening. Derrick Henry did not have a game. The Titans did enough to win the football game, but they did that on the backs of their defense. And I think you said this, Jack, it's not the guys that at the beginning of the year that we thought were going to be making the plays. The 2 guys that are paying $80 million in Landry and Bud Dupree didn't even dress today. And they got 6 sacks on Russell Wilson. That's the defense. And, Mr. Jones says defense can be your team's driving force. Now, we're not talking about how far that can get you, but it definitely is the Titans' driving force to winning football games.
Here's what we talked about at half. I said, coming into the game, the Broncos were the second worst on third downs offensively in the entire league. They went 4 of 9 in the first half. The Titans didn't let them get a first down in the second half on third down. On third down in the second half, the Broncos offense went 0 for 8. Clutch is a great word to use. The Titans do like to play these one-score tight ball games, and that's how they're going to have to play in the playoffs to win. They're not going to put up 40. It's not going to look pretty, but the Titans have mastered winning ugly. They have mastered winning these types of games. Ryan Tannehill came in, a gutsy performance. 255 yards, 2 touchdowns. He made the plays that he needed to make late in the game. He put the Titans in a position to where, the defense, they were up 7. The Broncos had the ball down 7, and they hadn't found the end zone. They hadn't scored a point the whole second half. Defense gets a stop at the end of the game to seal it. It was a well-rounded effort in the second half. I love to see the tight ends get involved, but you're exactly right. This team is going to go as far as this defense takes them. There's no doubt about it.
Russell Wilson, third down efficiency. This is what the Titans defense did. They held them 4 for 17.
Woo.
17 times they had third down, and they only converted on third down 4 times. I think that's the stat of the game. That is a huge discrepancy when it comes to third down performance for the Denver Broncos offense because of the Titans defense. And look, Jack, we can sit here and we're going to talk about how bad the offense was and how inept, overall, and the questionable calls on third down. We're about to talk about that. But I do think that we as a show, as a post-game show here brought to you by Barton Insurance Group, we had to lead with the defense because that was the positive of the game. There was some negative, don't get me wrong. But I think we had to lead with that. They had some big-time plays. And, again, all of the pieces that they're missing on top of their best player defensively, Jeffrey Simmons, again, not dressing out.
Yeah, it was a big-time performance from this defense once again. People are going to, whether they like to watch the Titans or not, they're going to be forced to watch this defense in the playoffs because it's taken them there. Nobody can score on this Titans defense. If the offense doesn't make a mistake like Willis did, and even when he did, the Titans were still able to bounce back in a sudden change situation and force a Broncos punt. It's incredible. Different guys show up every week. They did it without Christian Fulton as well. I know they really only gave up that one big play in the first half, that 66-yard touchdown to a guy who's never caught a pass in the NFL before. But it's just different guys stepping up, and it's a great opportunity for the Titans to learn how to win when Derrick Henry isn't on his A game, when he isn't finding holes up front. The Titans did that today. Look, it's going to be great for the postseason. Derrick Henry's not always going to be able to give you 120, 140 on the ground. So for the Titans and Ryan Tannehill to come out and have the game they did, these wide receivers stepped up, these tight ends stepped up. It's just kind of, this team continues to grow and evolve as the season moves along. I know there's still growing pains, but putting some of these guys in new situations and having them perform in a big way is really going to pay dividends down the stretch.
We're about to talk about the offense, but first, as you guys are watching Titan Postgame Live, brought to you by Barton Insurance Group right here in Middle Tennessee, trusted by A to Z Sports and trusted by myself on my coverage with Erie Insurance. Jack, you sit here and you diagnose what the offense is. And look, we're keeping a close eye on this Vikings-Bills game. This thing is in overtime. The Vikings just took the lead 33-30. The Bills are going to get the football with an opportunity to either tie or win. So we're keeping our eye on this. But, Jack, this offense can't keep doing that. The offense, something is wrong. Something is wrong with this offense. With the play calling, you got Dontrell Hilliard on 3rd down and 3 in a shotgun formation after Derrick Henry had just gotten you 10 and 7 yards, and you get stonewalled. You've got massive drops peppered throughout this game, including a big one by a guy you traded for, your senior leader in the wide receiver room, Robert Woods, that would have extended a drive. Great pass by Ryan Tannehill. Now, you did have a couple of guys in the tight end position step up. Hooper made a big play after catching that pass, careening off of 2 defenders and getting a first down. And that play by Chig, credit where credit is due. Chig, the 41-yard reception, 41 yards, that's sneaky a lot. Targets twice, caught one pass, 41 yards. Chig stepped up in a massive way to flip the field on that drive.
The Titans can use Chig like Jonnu if they wanted to, or if Downing knew how to. But they don't use him enough. I mean, this is his second game in a row where he makes a huge play. Last week, it was their first play on offense. Chig down the middle, for a monster gain, it may have been 41 yards, some 40-plus yards, and the Titans can't cash in. You've got to figure out a way to cash in on these big gainers, and the Titans did that, in the second half today. Look, it was an outstanding performance by the tight ends. The Downing situation, that is holding the Titans back. There's one person holding this offense back, and it's the guy who's calling all the plays. The 3rd and 3 call to Hilliard. What is Tannehill thinking when he gets this call? Is he like, what the hell is this guy think? I mean, seriously, that makes no sense to make that call there. And, the Robert Woods drop. Robert Woods came in here to play wide receiver 2 to A.J. Brown. Bobby Trees, he's playing wide receiver 2 to NWI right now. He's got to step it up. He is lost.
Yeah, he is. Robert Woods, now this is a little eye-opening. Robert Woods was targeted 7 times. He had 2 receptions for 10 yards. That connection it's not a good percentage.
It hasn't worked all season. And it's not like these catches are tough catches for Robert Woods. That one that you mentioned, the 3rd and 7 in the second half, third quarter, and it was a chance for the Titans to really make some moves down the field. I think, if he holds on to that ball, he probably runs 15 yards after the catch, crosses midfield, sets the Titans up for, to come away with some points. But it was a massive drop in a critical situation. Against better offenses, the Titans don't get away with that. I mean, there's got to be a game where the Titans can put 4 quarters together. Guys play hard. They make the plays they need to make. And the Titans look good for once. And we don't have people in the chat screaming fire Downing or the wide receivers are letting us down, or, Tannehill, Malik Willis, whoever's playing quarterback. They've got to find a way to put a complete game together. They haven't yet. And time is running out to really find that groove. They've got to figure out how to work together on offense, because in the playoffs, you make little mistakes like that. You fumble on an exchange from Malik Willis to Derrick Henry. Good teams are going to kill you. They're going to put you away. The Broncos aren't there yet, but there's, Green Bay next week. I know they've had struggles on offense, but Aaron Rodgers is capable of, twisting the knife in the Titans' back if he's allowed those opportunities.
Yeah, and, Billy and Malachi bring up the Swaim drop on first down. That was tough to watch.
Hands like a snake.
And Lamar says, Zach, why don't you guys ask Vrabel all of those questions you guys are bringing up? And Lamar, I'll tell you, Sam Phelan, our Titans reporter, and Buck Rising, our Titans reporter, are in there asking Vrabel these questions. Vrabel's response, though, has been the candid answer every time that they win is, this is hard to win in this league. We're proud of the guys for winning. It's kind of a deflection of concentrating on the mishaps on offense. Bringing Malik Willis in for a second time cold, right? And creating a turnover in, the opposing side of the field. That is unacceptable. It's uncalled for. It's unacceptable for 2 individuals. First and foremost, Malik Willis. If you're going to be an option quarterback, learn how to do the option, right?
Yeah, you got to commit to the read.
You're a read option quarterback,
or you're yanking it back, and he can make plays on his feet. But this is the second time this season we've seen a fumbled delivery on an option play. So I think I've seen enough of Malik Willis this year. I know the Titans and Todd Downing he wants to prove that he's smart and he's cute, but he's a little too cute in these situations. I mean, come on. The Titans are today. There was a 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Mix in a few big plays down the field on a flea flicker and, some tight ends making big third down plays. Don't get too cute. Just stick to the formula. This is the Vrabel way. don't get in the way of the Vrabel way.
Yeah, well, they got to figure out a way on the other side of the football, talking about offensively. And Josh Allen just threw an interception in overtime. The Bills are going to fall to the Minnesota Vikings. That was a premier game. You had the Vikings, only a one-loss team, against the Bills coming off a loss to the Jets in Buffalo. That could be something if you look to the Bills starting to lose some more games, and if the Titans continue to win. I know, look, the Titans don't have the tiebreak over the Bills or the Chiefs, but that loss helps the Tennessee Titans and the Vikings. They're in the NFC. It doesn't really matter to Tennessee. That's something to watch. So the Bills, lose 2 straight. That's impactful and can be impactful maybe down the road.
You're totally right. I think they rushed Josh Allen back. I mean, you have an injury to your throwing shoulder and you throw him right back in the game. I mean, we saw him late in that game take a hit and he had to leave for a little bit. But no, you're totally right. Anything can happen down the stretch. We figured that out last year when the Titans practice squad took them to the number 1 seed in the AFC. Who knows what's going to happen in Buffalo? Who knows what's going to happen in Kansas City? The Titans just have to put their head down and keep winning these games. And, the rest will shake itself out. But yeah, I mean, a terrible loss for Buffalo, who's really played poor lately. I mean, they lost to the Jets. They already lost to the Dolphins earlier in the season. They've got a lot of work to do. No team is complete right now. The Bills are everybody's Super Bowl favorite, but look, another chink in the armor pops up today. So Titans, look, they're not perfect either. They've got a lot to fix, but it's easier to fix these mistakes after a win compared to after a loss.
Titan Postgame Live brought to you by the Barton Insurance Group, trusted by A to Z Sports, trusted by myself with Erie Insurance. You should check your insurance company. Maybe you're paying too much and not getting the great service that Barton Insurance supplies. Thinking about a supply of cookies. I know they're making a new batch tonight for Crumble. Get out your phone after the postgame show and download the Crumble cookie app. Jack, that means one thing. That means grading the quarterback. Download the Crumble app. Crumble cookie, trusted. You talk about trusting my palate. I know Crumble has a rotating menu of over 175 plus flavors that they change out weekly. You can go right there down Hillsborough Village in Nashville. They've got locations all across Middle Tennessee. Crumble cookies are made fresh daily. Customers can see cookies made in their open concept kitchen. They've got in-store, they've got takeout, they've got delivery. They ship nationwide. You can also get a Crumble gift card. Holiday season, Thanksgiving, they've got you right there. Download the Crumble app today. That leads us to grading the quarterback. Grade Ryan Tannehill's performance today, and we'll go to the chat for that as I pin that to our Facebook feed as well as our YouTube feed. Grade Ryan Tannehill. This is a tale of 2 halves. That's what it is. Well, really, one drive in the first half and then the second half, because the first 2 quarters of play prior to that 13-minute touchdown drive before half, punt, 3-play, punt, 3-play, punt, 3-play, punt. It was on repeat. I'll read the stat line for Ryan Tannehill, Jack, and then I'll get you to go to the comment section and give these grades before you give yours. Ryan Tannehill, 19 of 36, passed the ball a lot more times than I think the Titans usually would want him to pass it. 255 yards, an average of 7.1 yards per pass, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, only 1 sack for 11 yards, and a 94.1 passer rating, which is better than Russell Wilson's 70.1. Jack, what is the chat saying?
Memory says B. John says A. Jared also goes B here. Trevor's with an A. We got a C- from Rise Above, a harsh grade there. Twiggy with a C. Jacob A-. Brandon B-. Guy Man with a C. Mr. Jones has an A. Connor has a C. Sean B. Chris B+. We got a C here. B+ from Oliver. B from David. Mr. Jones says W. Hey, he's going off the normal grading scale. He says W. Shiloh has B+. Zach B+. A. Kindrell says C. Will B. A. Louis putting a number up, 7, 8, 9. C from Pastor Raymond, B minus, B plus, B minus, B, B, B plus, A. So, I mean, a lot of Bs. I think B is probably the average vote from the chat, and I'm not surprised. I mean, I think a win helps. You kind of grade on the curve when your team wins. So, Zach, tell me what you're rolling with before I give you my answer.
I think I do agree with the chat. I can't give him a C plus because of his injury. Ryan Tannehill played through pain, and you saw that. Remember when he scrambled and got the first down? He was hurting, right? That was an 11-yard rush from Ryan Tannehill, and after that, you could see him kind of grimace on that ankle. Now he didn't do that again, and that was, smartly so. I've got to give him a B minus. There's a lot of meat left on the bone. It's definitely not an A performance. The offense was inept. It probably could have been a B plus or something higher, but that first half was really, really bad. The number of 3 and outs that we saw, but they started to get into a groove. But here's Jack. I'm kind of conflicted because how much, we're grading Ryan Tannehill. We're not grading Todd Downing. We're not grading Malik Willis. We're not grading Derrick Henry. We're grading Ryan Tannehill. How much influence and impact is the offensive coordinator not calling the right plays to continue drives having on Ryan Tannehill's grade? I think I'm going to sum it up as a B minus.
Really? Okay. I think that's a good point, and one that we'll probably never really know. The true ineptitude of Todd Downing's play calling when you factor in, Ryan Tannehill's performance, because while those things are correlated, one can definitely mess up the other. I'm going to go on the other side of B. I'm going B plus today from Ryan Tannehill. 255 yards. Anytime Tannehill throws over 250 yards, the Titans are in good shape. I mean, that's a good offensive, output for Ryan Tannehill in a run-first offense. Two touchdowns, 0 turnovers. That's what Tannehill does best. Takes care of the dang football. He did that today. 255. He could have had a lot more. Robert Woods let him down. Todd Downing took the ball out of his hands in certain situations where I think Tannehill would have, fared better throwing the ball. He made the big throws. He didn't, we saw Malik Willis sometimes miss open guys down the field. The flea flicker, it's a layup throw, but you got to make your layups to win the ball game. He did it. I give Tannehill a B plus today. He won without a big Derrick Henry performance. Ryan Tannehill led this offense today. Derrick Henry, he carries this team every Sunday, but this time it was Ryan Tannehill's turn to pitch in, and he did just that. I give him a B plus. The win, I think, elevates it from a B to a B plus performance for me.
You know what? And I just saw a statistic that actually kind of influences my opinion and closer to where you are. I'm at a B minus. You're at a B plus. I think I am going to change my grade.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to change my grade to a B. And here's the stat. And Vibe Runners, I think you had some great points in there, Jack. Here's the stat that is going to change my grade to a B. Ryan Tannehill and the Tennessee Titans had more passing first downs than the Broncos. 11 out of their 14 first downs were throwing the football, not running the football. And the Broncos only had 10 passing first downs. So that actually elevates my grade to a B. I think Ryan Tannehill deserves a B. So I'm going to get that red pin out and I'm going to X it off and I'm going to put a B instead of a B minus. And if Ryan Tannehill's, if he goes home, they need to call the teacher. I will say, hey, look, that wasn't Ryan scratching it out. That was actually me changing the grade after I saw a little bit more. We live react after the game. This is a live reaction. I do think that I'm going to upgrade him to a B.
Look, we can't forget that in this offseason, after the Bengals loss where Tannehill, vomited on himself, a lot of Titans fans, and I'm sure some in here, were interested in bringing Russell Wilson to Nashville and paying him the big bucks. We saw who the better quarterback on the field was today, And you got to keep in mind, coming into the game, we talked about this on the pregame show. The Titans' pass defense has let them down this season. They're in the bottom third of the NFL. Well, the Broncos' pass defense is best in the league. They're giving up 165 passing yards on average. Tannehill went over that by 90 yards. Ryan Tannehill did that. So, I mean, that's, even more of a reason to give Tannehill a good grade on this is because you got to consider the strength of your opponent. The Broncos defense, their best trait was defending the pass. Tannehill exploited them today.
Yeah, he did. And, Adam asked about that Crumble app. Go to your app store, download the Crumble app today. You can get you some fresh baked cookies. Look, they change them on Sundays. I got a good feeling they got some good ones this week. So download the Crumble app. That is Grading the Quarterback, brought to you by Crumble Cookies. We love Crumble Cookies, and we love Barton Insurance. They are the title sponsor of our post-game show. Your trusted insurance company, A to Z Sports, trust them. I trust them. Middle Tennessee's premier insurance provider for both personal, home, and auto, and also small to mid-sized businesses. Visit Barton Insurance Group, LLC.com, or call them at 615-806-1265. All right, Jack, this is now looking a little bit towards the future because the Titans move on to 6-3. You blink twice, they were 0-2. Now they are 6-3. They just beat the Broncos, and this is eye-opening. The Titans, they're sitting there winners of 6 out of 7 games. They go to Green Bay on Thursday night on a short week. That's going to be a tall task. We'll find out what the Packers do today against the Dallas Cowboys. But I also think that this is, and the Colts are playing currently, you've got this team, the Titans are 6-3, the Colts are 3-5-1, the Jags are 3-7, and the Houston Texans are 1-7-1. They just increased their percentage to host a home playoff game in January and for Ryan Tannehill to get redemption. That's got to make you feel good. But there are some pieces that I feel like, at least for me, are holding me back for this offense. Because you go up against a better football team, I feel like you're going to get punched in the mouth with points.
But that's what we said against Kansas City. I mean, until the Titans defense proves us wrong in that fact that, somebody's going to eventually put up points on them. I know the Bills game on Monday night happened, but let's face it, that's an anomaly. I mean, nobody's been able to score in this Titans defense lately. So while that game will likely pop up because no, one unit can be perfect for a 17-game schedule, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. They've earned it. So, obviously winning today is huge, but by winning today, you also saved Jeffrey Simmons, Bud Dupree, Amani Hooker, some of these big-time contributors on the defensive side of the ball that you're going to need next week or the following week. I don't know how many of them will be ready to go on a short week in Green Bay, but I mean, the Packers have their own challenge. They're going up against a tough Cowboys defense today. That's going to be a physical ball game, and hopefully the Titans can take advantage. I know that they, every Titans game is physical, but it's going to be cold in Lambeau, and the Titans have some revenge to get after the last time they went up there and got trounced by A.J. Dillon and that Packers offense. So I look forward to seeing how they come out of this thing. Every year they go into this gauntlet, this little 4 or 5 game stretch against some of the league's powers. Last year they dominated it. This year, all they got to do is come out of it, 3-2, and they'll win 10 games. It's looking good for the Titans. They're winning the games they should win now, and we'll just have to see how they stack up against Green Bay on Thursday night in a cold Lambeau Field.
Jack Gentry, fantastic job for our Titans post-game live show brought to you by Barton Insurance Group. I want to thank all of our sponsors throughout the course of the day, including Buddy Allen Carpet One, always giving you free in-home measures and estimates. That's Buddy Allen Carpet One, Nashville.com. Mr. Goodroof at MrGoodroof.com. BetMGM. We love BetMGM. Download the app today. Promo code ATOZ Sports. Barton Insurance, our official title sponsor of our post-game show, Middle Tennessee's premier insurance provider, both home and auto, small and mid-sized businesses. It's Barton Insurance Group, LLC.com. And Crumble Cookies, made fresh daily with over 175 flavors that are in rotation each and every week. You can get a gift card, download that Crumble app today. Jack, put it in the books. The Titans are 6-3. They got a quick turnaround Thursday night football. We will see all of our audience. Make sure you subscribe and follow us on Facebook. We will see everybody bright and early, 8 a.m. We'll get one rest. We'll wake up. We'll diagnose, and we'll figure out maybe some new takes in the morning. I'm Zach Bingham. He is Jack Gentry. Thanks for joining us on our post-game show. We will see you in the morning.